Hi, I'm Chloe,
Hi, I'm Joshua,
and welcome to the Musical Chairs podcast.
where every week we review and listen to a different musical.
So how have you been? How was your break?
It's pretty good. We have to start school.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't ever
It's
want
not
to do
fun at all,
Not.
but yeah, it was a nice break.
It was a nice little break. It seemed really short, but
Mm-hmm.
anyway, the musical for this week is Hamilton.
Yes. Also, we're doing Hamilton in 2 parts
Yes,
because
this
that's
is
how
part.
long it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is part 1, and next week we'll be doing part 2.
Yes. So stay tuned.
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton is a modern hip hop musical that is completely written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and it tells the story of Alexander Hamilton, a forgotten founding father. And Lin-Manuel Miranda made Hamilton after making In the Heights, which is also another musical. He was on a flight and purchased a random book to read, which happened to be Alexander Hamilton by Ron Chernow, which is very interesting. I never knew that
Yes.
before. Um, Hamilton is said to be a musical of America then told by America now, and basically meaning that they cast people of color to portray the characters that were all white in that time of creation.
And something with that is that Ron Chernow that made the book, he was invited, since that's what inspired Lin to write Hamilton, he was invited to like the first workshop of Hamilton. And when he walked in and saw like a bunch of people of color, because obviously he walked in expecting a bunch of white men.
Yeah.
But he walked in seeing a bunch of people of color and he just thought it was like perfect.
Yeah, it's a really good portrayal.
Yeah.
Especially like the whole America then being told by America now.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it took almost like 7 years for Lin-Manuel Miranda to write the whole thing, which he is so talented as a lyricist.
I'd get bored after the first 3 minutes.
I know. Hamilton is performed as an opera, which is very interesting, but it kind of doesn't seem like it the way he does it. It's basically fully sung, but in like those brief moments of dialogue. So,
it's not like a usual opera.
Yeah, not like operas, but like
just the idea that it's sung the whole way through.
Yeah. There's like no like scenes. It's just like all like songs. And it opened on July 13th, 2015, and is still currently running.
But it's shut down right now because of COVID.
I know.
But when that's over with, they're gonna bring it back up. But yes, it's currently running until who knows when.
It's been running for a long time. Like I was able to see it in 2017. I have a playbill here. I'll find the cast sometime. But, it has won 11 Tony Awards. Wow. 10 Lucille Lortel Awards, 7 Drama Desk Awards, and 7 Olivier Awards.
Yeah.
That's a lot of awards.
A lot of awards. Definitely deserves it. The synopsis. Hamilton tells a story of forgotten American founding father Alexander Hamilton and his ascent out of poverty and to gain power against the backdrop of the American War of Independence.
Yeah. Alexander Hamilton is played by creator Lin-Manuel Miranda. Aaron Burr is played by Leslie Odom Jr. Eliza Hamilton / Schuyler is played by Philippa Sue. Angelica Schuyler is played by Renee Elise Goldsberry. And Lafayette / Thomas Jefferson are both played by Daveed Diggs.
George Washington is played by Christopher Jackson. John Lawrence / Philip Hamilton is played by Anthony Ramos. Hercules Mulligan / James Madison are both played by Okrit Onadawan, which we're gonna, if we refer to his name, we're calling him Oak because that's what he goes by, and that's easier. And King George III is played by Jonathan Groff. Peggy Schuyler / Mariah Reynolds are both played by Jasmine Cephas Jones and Peggy.
Featuring the sign in the background.
Yes. What side is it on? This side.
Yes, that is the basic generalness of Hamilton. Generalness, or like the gist. So basically, is there any actor that you admire? Like any favorite actor that you like or anything like that?
Favorite actor? I don't know. They're all so good.
I know. They are all really good. It's
I
really
mean, I
hard.
love Renee. Okay, this is one thing. So Renee Elise Goldsberry, who plays Angelica,
Mhm.
I think I've told, I don't know, I might have not, but I think I told you this before, where she had to audition for Angelica, obviously, and she didn't get sat because she had to sing Satisfied. She didn't get
Uh-huh.
that till the night before.
Jeez. Oh
And
my goodness.
and like even Lynn is like, that's the hardest song I've ever wrote. And like,
It is a hard song.
and she learned it the night before, and she sang it, he said, perfectly. He said,
Wow.
like, all the other girls that were auditioning had to like, keep up with it, and she was like, that was like too slow for her. Like,
I mean, she is Broadway, like a Broadway like
mhm.
artist. Like she definitely,
Yeah, she
definitely
was. That's just incredible to think that she got it the night before, memorized it, and performed it perfectly, which is
like to this
crazy.
day.
Like
Yeah.
Lynn was like, I don't. Should we even let her do it? Like she, what? Yeah, she was absolutely perfect for that role. I couldn't imagine
Really good.
anyone else
Yeah,
to start it off other than her.
she's really good.
Mhm.
Um,
Anyone that you
I don't
admire?
know. For me, I don't know. It's kind of hard because I literally like love every single one of them. But if
Ooh.
I would
I'll
have
wait till we finish.
to choose, oh, if I would have to choose, I don't know. I'd probably say I don't know. This is so hard.
Yeah.
But for male actor, I would most likely say Jonathan Groff because
Mhm.
he is so talented and he's in so many things. Like I've seen him in countless things.
Yeah.
Not like actually physically seen him. That would be a dream. But like
Mhm.
like watched him in different things. And he's really good. But female actor, I would most likely say Philippa Sue. I really
Yeah.
like her um, in Hamilton and Amelie. I can't talk.
Amelie?
Yeah, and and I think she's in some other things I haven't seen yet, but
Mhm.
yeah, she's really good. I really like her voice.
Another person I really admire is Jasmine Cephas Jones, because she portrays both Peggy and Mariah Reynolds, which are two complete opposite characters.
I know.
Like Peggy is like a super kind of hyper in a way, like, and she's like really young, and like she has like a higher voice, and she's like a lot more different from Mariah Reynolds, which is like I guess sexy and seductive,
Yeah,
which are two completely different characters, like
I know.
not at all the same.
Not at all. And I'm so glad that they gave her another chance to play another
Mhm.
role because like Peggy was kind of small, but
Yeah,
like her voice is so big, and I was
perfect
glad she
for
got like a
both.
whole
Her
song.
range is incredible that she could
Yeah,
do both so easily.
I know. I have watched so many videos of her singing because she's just so good. Like
Yeah.
I love like, of course she's really good at playing Peggy like as like a kind of younger child version, but like she's also incredible at playing like that adult with like that
Yeah.
really big voice and big solo as
The
well.
belt.
The
Oh, the
boat, yeah.
belt.
She's so good. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, she's so good. Um,
So yeah,
on that note, like, who was your favorite character from
Angelica.
Angelica? Okay, so like I've been listening to Hamilton since like sixth grade, so I have like phases where
Mhm.
I like different characters. I had my Angelica phase, but like ultimately, I would probably say I don't know. This is really hard. But I really like Lawrence. I've liked Lawrence
Mhm.
for a long time, but other than that, I like Thomas Jefferson. He's very interesting.
Oh yeah, that's a fun character.
But yeah, I love John Lawrence. He is one of my favorites of all time.
Well, if you could
But
be
yeah.
cast, who would you want to be?
So I don't know. Okay, so Angelica's great, but she's I don't know. I probably wouldn't want to take that on because
Yeah.
she has like belting and like intensive rapping and stuff like that. Like which I could probably do the rapping part. I'm not a very good belter,
I can
but like
somewhat belt. I can make an
yeah.
attempt.
Yeah, but like I probably wouldn't do that. And Peggy, I definitely couldn't do the. Sorry, I just heard my dog
Mariah
bark.
Reynolds.
Yeah, I definitely could not do the Beltons with that. Oh,
What the
goodness.
heck was that?
That was my motivation app. It says,
Oh,
"Don't
okay.
let." Oh man, it's gone now. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
But so I would probably play Eliza 'cause she's really good for my
Yeah.
vocal range, and she's also
Yeah, definitely.
softer
Yeah.
vocal. So I would definitely love to play her. I sang like all her songs in the shower, like back to back, whenever I'd want to. But yeah, who would you want to be cast as?
So for me, I feel like the one that's best for my vocal range would be Lawrence and Philip,
Yeah, I agree.
because they're both like not, they don't get too low ever.
Yeah,
So
I
like,
think that's like the perfect, because
yeah,
like of course like like your voice is like you're like more like higher and you're not like bass, I guess.
tenor.
Yeah, and like that's like the perfect part because it's not
Yeah.
very low, but it's also not like higher like the female parts
Yeah.
as well. So
But if I could be a female part, I do Angelica. I love it. I literally sing Satisfied at least 5 times a day.
I know I had that face. I literally
Not
had
just
a
sing it,
phase.
perform it, literally in my room by myself.
I had that phase too, like where it was like all I listened to every day, and then I did the unfortunate thing of listening to it too much, and then I got really bored of it. I was like, I don't like this anymore. But that was like my first thing. Like I love that song. Oh my goodness, I just exited.
You went away.
Okay, I'm back now.
Okay. Who would you recommend this musical to? Anyone.
Yeah, really.
It is so good, especially because like if you really like analyzing musicals, definitely one with so many different meanings behind words and so many like it comes up again and again. Definitely one that if you like that, definitely if you just like, if especially some of the people that like rap, things like that, because there's a lot of parts in it that do that. That's another great thing. It's just it's absolutely amazing to listen to, just like so easy to get hooked on.
It is. So like, cause like, okay. So some people who are like who like theater are not as into like the more like classic musicals and like contemporary things. So I would say this is like a really good one to recommend to like everybody in theater because it's something that's like more modern and it has more rap aspects, but it also has other aspects to it too. Like it has more modern like music style. Like it doesn't have that contemporary instrumental kind of stuff. And it also is a really good story about like history as well. So it's really good for anybody. It's not like one
and it's also easily accessible just on Disney Plus.
Just on Disney Plus. Like it's really, I'm so glad that they did that. Like it's really just great decision that they made.
Yes, absolutely amazing.
But yeah, it's really so one for everybody. It's of course not like kids though, because like of the language.
Yeah, it's also it's like it's hard to keep a kid's attention for 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
but also
kids. But
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So what would you rate this musical?
Solid 10 out of 10.
Yes, 10 out of 10.
Like I love it so much, but like, of course I'm not as into it now because I've been listening to it for 2 years and I found like other musicals that I am more into. I mean, a lot of people say that this is overrated, but it deserves all the clout it gets.
I was like, what's so great about Hamilton before I listened to it, then I watched it, I was like, oh, that's what's so great about it.
Yeah, you have to definitely like get into it, but this is your reason. We're telling you it's really good.
It's because there's just so much thought put into it. It's not like Lin was like, this is cool, let's write about it. He really like got into it and put a lot of thought behind it, and like he got the perfect people to play the roles and choreograph it and everything.
Yeah, it was really well done. It's definitely a 10 out of 10. Some people may disagree, but it's a 10 out of 10. Yeah. I know every single word to every single song. So, I mean, that's kind of how you know, because it's just that good. So, and even some people who are not into theater love Hamilton. Like,
yeah, because it's also a good mix between theater and also more like popular songs
Mhm.
now, or in like music
Yeah,
now.
like that style.
It's also good, like if you're trying to get into theater a bit, it's a good introduction because it's not a huge contrast between it.
Yes. Yes. It's a great introduction. Like, oh man, the first musical I listened to was Dear Evan Hansen, and then the next one I ever listened to was Hamilton, which are both great starters because they're kind of more like modern. And like you're not going to want to listen to like more contemporary instrumental stuff
Yeah.
at first. You'll
Mhm.
get into that, like, but I mean, this is a
Yeah.
great starter. So, yeah.
Yeah. So there's something I want to show people that are, if you're watching on YouTube. So I
Yes.
have we have Hamilton and stuff. So I have this poster I got for Christmas. Very nice.
Very
nice
nice.
poster.
Mhm.
I also have stickers.
Yeah.
So many
Oh my
stickers.
I gave him
Which
those.
actually, yeah, Chloe gave me these stickers.
I have some for myself too. I have a lot left over, but I haven't.
Did you
I'm not
just
using
throw
it.
them?
No, I swear I didn't. Something fell off my desk, and I
Oh.
was like, goodness.
Okay.
I also have that playbill that I showed
Yes.
over there.
Over there.
Because I went to go see it over somewhere
Yonder.
in the abyss, in the abyss of my room.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I have this shirt. This I
Oh,
got
wow.
from the show that I went to. Here we are.
Wow. I don't have a shirt.
Yeah, it's very nice. They're kind of hard to find, so I was really
Yeah.
glad that I got one at
Mhm.
the show.
So yeah, so from now on we have the spoiler warning.
Definitely.
So, and if you haven't seen Hamilton, definitely watch it because you will have no idea what we're talking about.
No idea. Unless you're like, well, screw it. I'll just listen to them.
Yeah.
So.
And even just listening to it too, since it's all, like we said, performed like in basically an opera.
Yeah, it's basically like you could listen to it.
Except for one song, which we'll get into.
It's only available some places, and I cried.
But yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, beware. That's spoiler. Go watch it if you haven't, which you probably have for how big it is, if it's so accessible.
It's huge.
But if you haven't, do that right now or later.
Right now.
That's
Pause
I mean,
it,
we can't
come
really
back.
force you.
Okay.
So yeah. So we're definitely going in order of the music. The music.
Yeah, there's no way we can't. Like,
Yeah.
to be honest.
So let me just get my music up.
Okay.
First and also, this episode is only Act 1.
Yes.
So
stay tuned for part 2.
Yes. So because part 2 will have Act 2. Yes, it does. It really does. So Act 1 is a lot of introducing things.
Yes.
So yeah, Alexander Hamilton, which is the first song, which is about Peggy Schuyler. The song Alexander Hamilton is about Peggy.
Oh, for a minute I was like, huh?
No.
It totally is. Not even in the name or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, anyways, but yeah, so it's about, so we learn, it's the first 5 minutes of the song, which I think it took Lynn like a year to write it, because I mean, which is understandable if you listen to it, because it's about Hamilton. He had to fit like Hamilton's whole backstory in like 10 lines.
Yeah. Like, and it's told by everyone else too.
Yes.
It's not told by Hamilton himself.
Yeah. So like there's like a whole, like there's like, and literally 3 lines he says his father left him and his mother died and his cousin died, and like 3 lines, and he does it so perfectly.
I know, it's crazy. Like when I first listened to that song, which I listened to this bad mistake of mine. When I first listened to it, I listened to it out of order.
Why would you do that?
I'm that person. Like, I like to listen to things out of order. So, like, I listen to my favorite songs, and then when I get bored of those, then I listen to other things. But, anyway, when I first listened to that song, I was like, dang, like, this poor man, like, he's gone through so much, like,
yeah.
But he's still, like, a hero, and no one realizes it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's basically what it's talking about.
So yeah, and like just about how rough his life was, because like so much happened when he was young, and he was poor, young, scrappy, and hungry. And so yeah, so he was like really young, poor. Yes, a sticker. And so yeah, he's just really, not the best situation.
No,
And so
definitely.
eventually he moves to America, which is what I think, like, because people were like, look at this guy, he's pretty cool. Let's pay for his ship to go to America, right? Isn't that what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
He
so
it was a book collection, I think. It said took a book collection just to send him to.
oh yes.
Yeah. So
And so
yeah,
yeah,
something about that.
so yeah, and each person from each character is singing each line and like telling the story, which is I think it's a lot better and a really good choice instead of having Hamilton do it.
Yeah.
Because
then it sounds like weird. Like it's kind of cool, like how other people are telling his story.
And it was also give a Hamilton a thing to like, because he could like walk around the stage and like there would be actors like going around actually like doing what they were saying. And there's one part where when his mother, which they had to pick an actor, a female actor, to do that. And at the very end, when Hamilton's like dying, and he's having his like internal monologue, he's like, what is it? It's Lawrence is on the other side. My son Philip is on the other side. My mother's on the other side, and Washington's watching on the other side, like that part.
Yeah.
And with his mother, they have the same actress, which obviously they do. They have the same actress like as like on the balcony being his mother as they did in the very first song.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
and his mother just like died of sickness.
Yeah,
like,
they were both sick.
Yeah,
and but only his mom died.
Yeah.
So he goes to America and he's just kind of chilling there, and then and then we also a thing which there's a part where each character is talking about what Hamilton was in their life. So it's we fought with him, which can be either Hercules Mulligan and Lafayette, or it could be what's their names? It could be, why can't I think of their names right now? Hello? Okay. Or it could be Thomas Jefferson and James Madison, because James Madison and Jefferson, they both fought with him like in an argument kind of way.
Yeah.
They weren't like friends with him. And Hercules and Lafayette, they fought with him.
Yeah, yes. Like physically fought.
They were on his team and fought with him in the war. Which goes to the next one is is it Me I Died for Him? I think that's the next one.
Yeah.
I Died for Him, which could be John Lawrence or Philip, because John was in the war with Hamilton and died, and Philip literally died for him because he died in a duel to like recover his father's name.
So I seriously never realized this before.
Yeah.
Like I am just realizing this. Like I only portrayed it as one character. I couldn't see it as both. Like
yeah, it's both.
That's crazy.
And then the Me, I Loved Him. It was sang by Angelica, Eliza, and Mariah Reynolds.
Yeah.
Sorry, some name was called. Hopefully it's not mine. Anyways, so yeah, and it's sung by all three of them because I was about to say Philippa Sue. Eliza was married to Hamilton. Angelica, we find out in her song Satisfied, is secretly kind of in love with him, which we'll get to in depth later.
Yeah.
And Mariah Reynolds which we'll get into our next episode next week.
Yeah.
Because that's when Say No to This is in. She had an affair with him. So, yeah, which we'll get into more.
Definitely later.
Yeah. And so that's just a great introduction song to it. I think it works so well. And so yeah, here I'm gonna check if I have notes because I didn't want to forget anything. I'm just gonna check them just to make sure. In New York, you can be a new man. That's when they first say it. They say it a few other times, mainly in Helpless. At the end of Helpless, they say, "In New York, you can be a new man." So they say it at the end of that. You never learn to take your time.
Yes.
Which is like huge because during the whole musical, he's like never takes a break, which we get to take a break in the next episode. because he's so focused on working and getting everything done correctly and focused on like, oh, I have to get this done right the first way and I have to get it done perfectly. And like he's so focused on that he forgets to take a break. He doesn't
like,
take his
why
time.
do you write like you're running out of time as well? Like it's just like that whole time thing with him and his constant working.
Yeah. So I think that's it for the first song.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, that's like a big, just like it's a huge song.
It's a big song. It has a lot to it, like a lot to it. Then it's Aaron Burr.
Yes. So that's when we really, I mean, technically we did meet all the characters in the first song, but this is where we really meet Aaron Burr, which Aaron Burr's like, he's gone to college. He's like done stuff. He's already made a bit of a name for himself. Not a huge name, just a little bit. And so we learn about him, and Hamilton's like, hey, I want to be like you.
Yeah. He's like, how
I want to walk like you, talk like you too.
Like you too.
What is that, Lion King? No, not Lion King. Why did I say no? I'm ashamed of myself. What? That's from the Jungle Book. They're both animals.
Lion King.
Ignore that. I didn't say Lion King.
Okay, let's erase the last minute.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, anyway.
Anyways, yeah. So Hamilton is like, yeah, I want to be like you because you're pretty cool. And he's like, and Hamilton, he's very talkative, so the whole time he's talking. And then we learn like Aaron Burr, which is a huge thing that's mentioned again. He's talk less, smile more.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is a thing that Aaron Burr follows a lot.
Yes.
Definitely, because he doesn't, because we learn in Wait for It that he doesn't really state his opinions.
Yeah, really. He just kind of sits there and waits.
Because he waits, yeah. Because he's like, oh, just in case this ruins my reputation, I'm just not gonna say it. And Hamilton, we learn very quickly, he's very different from that.
He's like, what are you waiting for?
He says what's on his mind. Yeah, he says, what are you waiting for? What do you stall for? You won this war. What was it all for?
And the other thing, he said if you love this woman, go get her. Mm-hmm. What are you waiting for? Mm-hmm. See you on the other side of the world. Yeah.
He just
why don't waits around?
Yeah, he waits around a lot, which is something that I think in Act 2 we learn Hamilton does at one point, which we'll get into in Act 2. We're not even going to get into Act 2. We're not even going to. We'll mention it.
But it's too much. We cannot
really
talk
get
about
into.
It now.
Yeah. And so, what else is there? Aaron Burr, Sir, is also a thing that's just the words and that melody of it, because a lot of times they'll be like Aaron Burr, Sir. Like they say that again, like in that tempo and and they say just with different words in it. And so I just another note, just we already mentioned how Burr is pretty close-minded too. How it's like I like how we are now. Like it doesn't need to change.
Yeah, and in the end, the way when he finally starts going for things, his waiting kind of catches up to him, and it kind of pays in the end. Mm-hmm. It's a really interesting ending.
Yes.
And then it's my shot, talking about it's like a double meaning in a way.
Yeah.
Talking about not physically throwing away your actual tequila shot or whatever you're having, or and not throwing away your shot, your chance.
Yes, which is a huge theme in the musical, brought up in every other song,
yeah, and the end especially too.
Yes.
And he questions his he always thinks about death too, and how
he imagines death so much it feels more like a memory.
Yeah. And it's he talks about that a lot because he wants to die legend, as a legend. He wants to die memorable.
Yes, and not just some random person that no one knew.
Exactly. And that's kind of sad because that's kind of how it ended up until Hamilton was a musical.
Yeah, because Hamilton was one of the lesser known, which is why we said in the synopsis, he was a lot of the, I don't even really know, he was mentioned one time in the history book.
Yeah, don't be shocked when your history book mentions me, but
it did.
not.
It did.
Like,
It did.
maybe
It did mention you.
mention you. Barely talk about you.
And
Yeah,
so
nobody
yeah,
really knew him, which because he ruined his reputation, and I think that's why.
yeah,
Because if you think about it, he could have been president, but he
yeah. You're
didn't.
never gonna be president now.
um, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a whole Act 2 thing again.
Yeah, it's and then also Hamilton has like huge plans for things. He's like, I have so many things that I can do. They also mention young, scrappy, and hungry, which is like he's because isn't he supposed to be 19 in that song? I think so.
Yeah, he says I'm only 19,
but my mind is older. Yeah. Which Philip says later. But yeah, so Hamilton.
That's so sad.
So yeah, he has he has so many plans. He's really smart. He's just like, yeah, I mean, makes some dumb decisions, makes some very dumb decisions, but but yeah,
overall he's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Overall.
And this also when he becomes friends with Lawrence, Jefferson, not Jefferson,
No.
yeah, and Mulligan, not Madison, Mulligan, Hercules.
Same deal.
And so yeah, and so that's when he becomes friends with them, and we learn that their mind is a lot more like Hamilton's than Burr's. How Burr's more closed-minded, keep it how it is, and theirs is more like we need to change things.
Like in the song, he's like, "You spit, I'm a sit. We'll see where we land."
Yeah,
and it's just he also
says, what is it? Speaking in dead.
You have to be carefully talk. If you talk,
no, like what Burr says like before. He goes like, yo, what time is it? What is it?
Talk less, smile more. Don't let them know what you're against or what you're for. You can't be serious. You want to get ahead. Fools who run
their mouths oft wind up dead.
Yeah.
That's his opinion. Like, if you talk about what you stand for, you're gonna die. You're gonna...
And that's kind of...
Which also, oh my god, okay, so fools who run their mouths off wind up dead. And you know who the first person is to talk after that?
John Lawrence.
And he's the first one to die.
That's what I was saying. It's like foreshadowing.
Yeah,
for all of them.
He's the first one to die in the whole musical. I mean, I'm technically not, because technically like redcoats and like they died and stuff.
Yeah.
But main characters, like he's the first one to die.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
it's just like foreshadowing for like the end as well. So
yeah. There's also which I briefly mentioned earlier, when he says, "I imagine death so much it feels more like a memory," which is a big thing he says multiple times, especially when he's literally dying.
Yeah.
Like, I imagine death so much it feels like he says it a lot because it's just kind of like it, which also he imagines it so much that it's not because he lived in, I forgot where he lived before, but where like he lived before, like people barely made it to to where he was, like 19. He was lucky to be 19.
He was like, where I come from, some get half as many.
Yeah.
It's like dang, like that's a little scary. But yeah. And he's saying like that's why we live like to the fullest, because you never know when we're gonna die. So that's a great motto. So
yes.
Good job, Hamilton.
Imagine death so much it feels more like a memory. Do that. Which is mentioned in a few songs like Hurricane, The World Was Wide Enough, Yorktown, or what is it? It's like Yorktown that has like the world turned upside down. It's also mentioned in there, which is some of the songs it's mentioned in. So yeah, I think that's it for my shot, unless you have more to add.
I don't think so. That was like one of my favorite songs at the time.
Yeah.
The only other thing is like kind of the whole rise up thing.
Oh yes.
When he's dying, he says that a lot, and he's talking.
Oh yeah, it's like rise up, eyes up.
Yeah, and rise up. It's time to take a shot. We're gonna rise up. Yeah, that's kind of a little bit of theme as well.
Cool. Kind of like an underlying one.
Yeah, it's like it's not as noticeable.
It's not mentioned as often, but it's definitely like still a pretty big one.
Yeah, it definitely like means something, but like it's not as big of a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Like you basically said everything.
Yeah.
Other than the rise up thing, but yeah.
Story of Tonight. This is a shorter song. This is when Afterwards, they're
love
like,
this song.
it's so good. Where like they're just like, it's Lawrence Lafayette, Hercules, and Hamilton. They're all just like, we may not live to see our glory, but I will gladly join the
We
fight.
not live to see our glory.
Yeah, where they're just like, they're saying like, hey, we might not like live to like see what ends up happening,
Yeah.
but it's still like they're glad to do it. They're glad to do whatever they can, and
Yeah.
they want to do whatever to help, which is the song, which is sad, that Lauren sings when we find out he dies, which is a song that isn't in any of like the album at all.
Yeah.
It's not in it. It's the one song that's in it because Lynn, he said that it felt more like a scene than a song, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I can see that, but also like it's just like a nice surprise when you actually watch it. It's like just a nice like reminds you that happens. But yeah, he sings that when he dies.
Okay, speaking of songs that are not on the track, so like this song is not actually in Hamilton. I don't know if it was like a deleted one or something, but there's a song, Dear Theodosia Reprise, and it's where it was where Theodosia died, not the child, but the wife.
Oh.
And, oh my goodness, tears, because Leslie Odom Jr. has so much emotion in that song. Like, I don't know, I don't think you can find it very easily, because when I found it, I was like in 6th grade. I don't know if it's gonna be on there anymore, but it was so sad. Like, I really wish
I would imagine that reminds me of something like First Burn. How like, because have you listened to First Burn?
That was like all the Elizas doing like their own version, like of Burn.
Yeah. No, it was First Burn. It's the Burn that he wrote before Burn.
Oh really? Oh,
yeah.
I did not know that. I did not know that. But isn't it like a series of Elizas doing the?
I don't know. I think
it has something to do with that.
But yeah, it's just Eliza. It's just like Eliza. It's like one of the lines is like, what is it? It's, I know how you look at my sister. It's like one of the lines in it.
I see how you look at my sister.
But yeah, and also, what's the other song? Oh, my light died for a second. Also, another song that was deleted was so you know how like Angelica has that very short spot in the Reynolds pamphlet?
Oh yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations.
You have invented a new kind of stupid.
A damage you could never undo, kind of stupid. Okay.
And open all the cages in the zoo. Kind of stupid.
Yeah, anyways. Yeah, so that's another great song, which I'm sad is cut.
I guess they would have included that. That was...
I think because it's supposed to be, and I think he said because it's supposed to be Eliza's moment, not Angelica's.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. But, like, Angelica was kind of a part of it, too, because, like, Angelica was, like, her sister, you know?
Yeah.
But
yeah, anyways, back to Story of Tonight. So, yeah, it's really good. It's pretty short. It's just saying, like, hey, we're glad to do this. We might die. That's okay.
Yeah, we'll tell the story of tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And not...
That our children will tell the story of tonight.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And then it's the Schuyler Sisters, which before we even talk about the song, can we talk about how satisfying it is?
Satisfied.
when Aaron Burr does that little like jumpy skippy thingy at the beginning during the drum.
Oh my god, it's so good.
I like rewatch it over and over and over again. I love it so
much.
He's
it's so good
at it. It's so satisfying because it's like on the drum beat, and it's
we are satisfied.
We are satisfied. We are. There's no satisfied anymore. It's just we are.
Yeah.
With that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was, oh my goodness, so satisfying.
Yeah, this is the song we meet Angelica, Liza, and Peggy, which this is the only song that Peggy has her moment. And
Poor
Peggy.
And Peggy.
Yeah, love Peggy. But she dies at the end of Act 1. We don't see it because obviously she's not too big of a character.
Yeah.
That's not important to show.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, she's in a few other songs. She's in like Helpless and Satisfied.
Didn't she die of like disease or something?
She died pretty young.
Yeah.
She had a good life though.
Too bad. She did have a pretty good life.
Yeah.
yeah, it's basically showing like them in their like little day through town and like
Yes, and
talking about like it mentions how like they're kind of rich
yeah,
too, and they like
how
they're just
lucky
kind of
they
like
are to be alive right now.
yeah,
But
that's
saying
another
like,
thing.
hey, we're kind of in a war, but it's pretty nice.
Yeah,
We're
it's
pretty
we're
good to
living
be alive right now. Uh,
life.
which is also something, and I saw this in a lady where she was just reviewing the music, and like she was a scene teacher, and so she was
Yeah.
just looking at the music, and she said immediately from never seeing Hamilton before, because she listened to it blind, just from the few like first seconds of seeing Angelica, Liza, and Peggy, she knew immediately who was the oldest and the youngest, just from their voices. Because
Yeah.
Peggy has the like kind of the highest, more like nasally voice.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like Eliza has like kind of an in between, and Angelica
Yeah.
has more of like a deeper voice, more like rich, which is
Yes.
like, and it's she said she could immediately tell who was the oldest and youngest just from that first like Angelica, Eliza, and Peggy. Like just from that, she just knew right away,
Yeah.
which is
It
like
is pretty
crazy.
easy to tell because they are like they're really good at portraying the age of the actors.
Yeah.
Or not of the actors.
Although
of the
technically the Skyscrapers they're only a year apart in real life.
Yeah.
But I
Like,
think they exaggerated their age difference a bit. Because
little bit.
also in the musical, they're the only 3 Schuyler siblings, when really there was like 11 or something. There were a lot.
Yeah.
There was a lot.
Like there was, yeah.
But
I
like,
remember hearing about that somewhere.
yeah. But Lynn was just like, he literally just flat out forgot about the other siblings.
I know. He just like
He was like,
no,
it's fine, it was better. He was like, it was better that way anyways. Because imagine having to introduce 11 siblings.
Yeah. And plus like those are like the most important ones pretty
Yeah.
much. Like Peggy's not that important, but like it's just
She's
like
there.
yeah, she adds some character to the musical.
See,
So,
I feel like without her, it wouldn't have been.
like as it would just be Angelica and Eliza. And
yeah.
Kind of, oh.
But yeah, so their voices are very good. We also learned that they're like very like independent in a way, and like also like want women to be more apart, because right now it's pretty much just men.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're just like,
men.
You want a revolution, I want a revelation. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, and when I'm Thomas Jefferson, I'll compel him to include women in the sequel, which is like saying that, hey, women should be included, which is also a direct, like, what is it? It's like, it's actually like a thing that's like a thing.
In the Declaration of Independence.
In the Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths to be self-evident. That's like an actual thing that's in it.
Yeah.
Which is like in social studies, every time I read that was the only way I could sing. I had to sing it. I couldn't read it normally.
Okay, in like 6th grade when I first listened to this, I did not know that was in the Declaration of Independence, and I was like, wow, they put a line from Hamilton in there, and I was like, wait a minute. But yeah. They're pretty good. They put a line from Hamilton in it.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just holding and like just woman in the sequel. Also, how lucky we are to be alive right now was said a bunch of times. That's a big thing that's said over and over again, especially in That Would Be Enough. It's in Take a Break. It's in, what is it? It's in
Nonstop.
That's what it's in. It's in like a bunch of different stuff. That's like, like why are you doing this? Look how lucky you are to be alive. That's what.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of times that's what Eliza's using it. It's like, hey, why do you keep like leaving?
Yeah, like why are you leaving me? I'm your wife. Like,
yeah,
come be with me and your son. But yeah, that's a big one, and I feel like, I think that's also in the final where he's like dying too. I think it's also in there.
I think maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff when he's dying. A lot of things is happening when he's dying.
I swear, I can't remember. But I mean, yeah. And then after that, it's
Farmer Refuted.
Yes, Farmer Refuted. Oh my goodness, that's such a fun song.
Yes, it is. It's like, it's just saying, I mean, the Samuel Seabury, he's pretty much representing all the people that don't want the revolution to happen, which isn't that many people. I think, wasn't it mostly people that were for the revolution?
Yeah,
like, I think the majority of the people in America wanted the revolution to happen.
it was basically those who like supported King George.
Yeah.
Were
But didn't want to
not.
leave.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So yeah, he kind of
What were they
represented them.
called? Were they like loyalists or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like so
So
loyalists.
he represented the loyalists.
Yeah.
And then Hamilton was like, "That's dumb."
Yeah. What are you doing? Like, we kind of need this to happen. And then they kind of have like a mini rap battle about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Which I also like is that Samuel Seabury, he sings more traditionally. And
Yes.
Hamilton is rapping the whole thing, which is, I think, really cool because more traditional is like kind of older and rapping is newer, kind of showing how like Hamilton wants more the newer thing, and Samuel Seabury is more like with the older thing. They're fine with what it already is.
Yes, like I think that's like a really good, like I didn't really like notice that before, but like that's a really good like way to show, because like that is kind of the older thing. Like the newer thing, like rap, is like kind of having freedom and independence and equality as well.
Yeah.
So, which is kind of what the revolution represented. So.
Another thing is chaos and bloodshed are hello? Oh, I got an alarm on the phone. Anyways, chaos and bloodshed haunt us, which is like, and he was like, that's what's gonna happen if we do the revolution. Hamilton's like, no, that's what's already happening.
Yeah,
we're already being killed and stuff for not obeying. Like, why should we keep doing that?
Yeah, it's like, it's already happening. He says it's like chaos and bloodshed already haunt us, and it's like,
yeah. And also Burr tries to stop, which goes back to Burr being like not trying to speak his mind.
Yeah.
Which is Burr's trying to stop Hamilton. It's like, no, let him be. He's fine. Where Burr's like Hamilton's like, no, I'm gonna speak what I think. You know?
Yeah, like stand up for what's right.
I know it's right, and I know what should be happening, and this is not it. We're not here for it.
Exactly, we're not here for it. But like, that, I don't know, like Burr. That's a big thing throughout the whole musical. Just like him waiting. And that and the whole like that's kind of what happens.
Yeah, a lot of times when he sings, when Burr's doing it, they have the backing people or the ensemble being like, "Wait for it, wait for it."
Yes, yeah, which is a big part of one song too. But like that's kind of how the
"Wait for it"
starts. Like because he gets jealous of Hamilton eventually, and he's like, "Okay, well,
just why does the duel at the end?"
Yeah. But that's basically what leads to the conflict in the end. That's also another thing I wanted to mention. Not Hamilton. Burr is like in every intro of like almost every song that he's narrating, he's like, how does a bastard orphan, like he says that, and like referring to Hamilton in kind of like rude,
a negative tone. Yeah,
and that kind of is foreshadowing.
And he's saying like, how does this orphan son of a whore like end up being this huge guy?
Yeah, exactly. Like how.
And then another thing that is Burr, in a lot of it, he's walking a lot in straight lines because he sees only one view. And Hamilton they had choreographed and do a lot of curves and more turns and stuff, because Hamilton sees a bunch of different possibilities of what could happen. He says like a different view from everyone else. When Burr is he only sees the one view, and that's like the only option. Yeah,
and like if you notice, like he even does it with like Lafayette one time too. But like he does that a lot, and he just that's kind of him questioning, like, I am doing so much to keep my reputation, but they're these like negative people, like not even like giving in, like they're giving in work, but like they like are just like these people, but they're more reputable than I am. Like, what's going on?
For not doing for like changing things.
Yeah.
What?
Which is kind of like a good lesson.
He's like, for them not staying in line, pretty much.
Yeah. And then like in the next song we were mentioning,
You'll Be Back.
Oh wait, never mind, I was looking at the wrong song.
It's You'll Be Back.
I was like, on that note, but like wrong song. You'll Be Back is basically
King George the Third.
Yeah.
Which actually Jonathan Groff, because he already left the musical when they were filming it. And I don't know who the guy was. I should have looked it up. But the guy that was doing it at the time, he step down for like those three performances that they did,
Mhm.
so that he could play as the king for that.
Yeah.
So he could
Yeah,
reprise his
like,
role.
because Jonathan Groff is a replacement. Like, I saw that on his theater credits when I looked them up. I was like, I did not know that before. Like, I never knew that he was a replacement. But basically, he's just talking about, like, it's pretty historical, actually, talking
Mhm.
about, like, how, like, it's just, like, gonna get
How, like,
physical.
Yeah, how
Like,
the king is like, you'll be back. You're gonna be fine. He
yeah,
also mentioned the Boston Tea Party.
he did.
He was
Yes.
what is these things like? What was the line?
Um, and the tea which you hurl in the sea.
Yes, when you see me go by, because they had to pay for the tea, like more than they were like, why are we taxed for this? Excuse me.
Mhm.
And that was the only way they were getting tea. So like, we're just dump the tea. We're gonna dump the tea in the water.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of
The
historical
fish
references.
fly isn't spicy.
And he's talking about like our love, like
Yes.
in a way, talking about like there was a whole
I
reference
will
to, like,
kill your friends and family to
Mhm.
remind you. I'm saying that wrong.
to remind you of my love.
Love. Yeah.
Basically, this love reference is like their relationship. Like England was kind of always known as like the mother of the colonies, and that's why the colonies weren't independent. Like
Yeah.
I think that's just kind of a representation of their um, relationship in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How it's like, I'm gonna kill you. Love you.
Yeah,
So,
it's a pretty good song. That was one of my first songs that I ever listened to. It
Yeah.
was really good.
We listened to it in social studies.
Yeah, I loved listening to it in social studies, but like it's kind of something different. Like everything else is just kind of like rap, hip hoppy.
Because he's
that song
more
is really
like trying to keep it what it was.
exactly.
And so
yeah.
that's so again kind of with the Farmer Refuted, how like Samuel Seabury singing more classical in a way, and that's how King George is singing more like what you expect from Broadway.
Yeah, which is great because they add that in along with the more modern.
Yeah, and then directly after the song, a huge character in quotes, the Bullet.
Oh yeah.
Because the Bullet is a huge thing where a lot of the times when people interact with the Bullet, something bad happens to them. So, which is we'll get into later. But yeah, so the Bullet gets killed, which is played by Ariana DeBose, who was in our one last week, right? For the prom.
Yes, she wasn't actually in the Broadway one. She was in
the movie. And so she was in that. And so that she plays the quote Bullet character.
It's a very interesting thing how they do that.
Yeah, like, very interesting. So.
But yeah, there's that, and then right after is a Winter's Ball, or no, a Right Hand Man.
I always forget the Right Hand Man exists.
Right Hand Man. Oh my goodness, this is probably like in my top 5 favorite songs.
Yeah, I love it. I forget it's there, but I love it.
I would listen to it on like a loop. I love that song. But it's basically it's him talking about like the craziness of the war they're going through, and like
and also introducing Washington.
Yes, like we've already met him, but like introducing
briefly
him
in the opening number.
Yeah, but like introducing him like in his full character, and you can kind of see like he's really stressed. But sometime in the song, Burr comes in and he's like, hey, I can help you. Like, do you want me to help you? And then Washington calls Hamilton in, and he's like, Burr,
and like kind of ignores Burr.
Way out. And he like.
Which is again with the thing with Burr is kind of like, why does Hamilton get so much credit for doing stuff?
Yeah,
like why don't I get any credit for anything?
Yeah, which is kind of sad, but at the same time, it doesn't mean you have to like have a duel with somebody.
And then obviously George Washington's the first president of the United States.
Yes.
Like obviously, yeah.
That's really good. It's really like rap based. Like there's very little singing.
Also, Burr is, like we said, Burr's turned down for Hamilton. We keep meeting is I like because they're kind of like frenemies. Like they're kind of friends in a way, sort of.
Yeah.
But like they also kind of hate each other a little bit.
Yeah, because they just like have this like internal conflict. Like it's not like
Yeah.
verbal yet, but it's just kind of like there.
It's kind of
ever since
like they're still kind of competing for the same roles.
yeah, because like
But you
it
know what's
already kind of
interesting?
started. Hmm.
Um, Lynn almost cast himself as he was debating on to cast himself as Burr or Hamilton.
Really? I feel like he did so good as Hamilton. Like I could
Well, yeah,
not.
this is like before he like was for sure. But it's like I here's the thing. Lynn's great, but also like it's vocally, he's great vocally. But there's like I feel like he put a cast of amazing people vocally around him.
Yeah.
So it's like he's kind of like overshadowed a little bit. Like he's still
Yeah.
great, amazing singer, but just sometimes he's like overshadowed by other people. So I feel like Leslie Odom Jr. was perfect
Oh yeah.
for Burr. Like the bet,
Yeah.
like there was no one else to choose.
Like personally, this is one of those shows that has such a good original cast that you could never see it anywhere else and have the same like
Yeah,
praise for it because of the great original cast. Like when I went to go
the
see it,
every single, because I've seen a few like other like people singing, and my favorite Angelica that's isn't obviously it's gonna be Renee Goldsberry.
yeah,
But my favorite one, other than that, that's like I feel like performed it really good was, oh my god, her name, I can't think of it now. One second, I'm searching it up. You keep talking.
okay, yeah. Like when I went to go see it, like it was still phenomenal. Like it was really great seeing it like live, but it was just not the same because the characters because the cast was so different. Like it's just one of those great musicals.
Yes.
And a lot of people like rose to fame from it. Like they weren't really.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
For example, Anthony Ramos, like he didn't really have
that was his like first big thing.
Yeah, that was his thing. That really was his only thing, other than 21 Jump Street. And
But he did that. Oh wait, I think 21 Jump Street was that before or after Hamilton?
I have no idea.
Okay.
But he also he had In the Heights in 2020, but like
yeah, but that's definitely after Hamilton.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking of Emmy Raver Lampman, where she, although again, not my favorite. Renee is my favorite. She did. I feel like she was the only other person that did really, really good in it as Angelica, which was like, because like I think a lot of people are very theater when they're cast in Hamilton, and they're very used to that. And so when they're singing rap, they're trying to kind of put the musicality to it, but it just doesn't work because it's rap. Which rap is obviously a great music. I mean, I personally don't listen to really rap, but like a lot of people do. But like so like they're not used to singing that way. And so
that's why I think the original cast is so good. Like
yes,
because like it's like of course like when you're auditioning for Hamilton, you like like you're a musical theater person. You've been performing a different way for your entire life.
Yes.
So yeah, it's
your
very
voice
different.
Isn't trained that way.
Exactly. Unless you have like listened to Hamilton on repeat and like have mastered the voices. But yeah. Like I could never do that. Like, well, I mean, like I've listened to it so many times, like I've kind of gotten their voices down a little bit, but like actually performing it, I don't know if I could do the rapping as well because I'm more musically inclined. Like I'm more of a like actual note singer. I'm not very much of a talker. So, yeah.
Yeah. But next up is Winter's Ball.
This is the song I was gonna.
This is.
What does
I call it the three big songs. Not big songs, but three like important.
Oh
songs.
yeah,
like, the three in a row.
Yeah.
Three pretty big. Like whoa.
What does he say at the beginning? He's like, how does a
bastard orphan, son of a whore, and a Scotsman? No, is it that one? Dropped
no. That's Alexander Hamilton. I literally I know every single word until now.
Go on and on, grow into more of a phenomenon. Watched this obnoxious, arrogant.
No. Is it no?
Yes, Washington hires oh yeah, it was that Washington hires Hamilton right on site, but Hamilton still wants to fight, not right, but
Hamilton Squill. Skill with the quill is undeniable, but
What do we have in common? We're reliable with the ladies. Yeah, that's what it is. There we go.
So
We
that's
figured it
another
out.
thing where he's talking about
Hamilton.
Hamilton in a negative way. Like he's talking about like, yeah, he's great with the quill, and like he's like not
Like,
very
how
good
is
at
this bastard good with this stuff? Like, what?
Yeah.
Huh?
He's like, well, one thing we have in common is the
Ladies.
ladies.
Which is going to that helpless.
Yes.
Why do I say it like that?
Helpless.
But
Helpless is really good.
yes.
I don't
So
know.
helpless is
I
about
like it, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah, and we introduced to Eliza and sorta Angelica.
Yeah.
Well, like really introduced them. We met them before, but this is when we really
Yeah.
really
like,
learned.
Really get into it. Yeah.
So helpless, we learned that Eliza, just from the first sight of Hamilton, is in love with him.
Yeah, just like literally, like no other
like
interaction.
When she says like, "You walked into the room and my heart went boom," like.
Yeah, personally, like I don't know, like I couldn't do that unless they were like highly attractive or something.
Yes.
Like I would have
Which,
to have
like apparently Hamilton was very attractive. Like a lot of people, like if you look at like things that like people said, apparently he's very attractive. So
yeah, like I have to have like some personal interactions with people, like in order to like actually start liking them, you know.
Yeah.
But like I don't know.
But also keep in mind at that time, a lot of people got married in 3 seconds.
That is
like,
true.
I mean, so did they. Like, there's literally a song where it's like, there's a part where it's, what is it? Where she's like, 2 weeks later, I'm writing a letter nightly. And I'm like, it's better every letter that you write me. And it's been 2 weeks. And they're like about to get married. And he's literally asking to get married. Like, they knew each other for like such little time.
Yeah, literally. They got married like on the spot. Like it was no thought.
Which also with when I said my heart went boom, the spotlight is obviously on Eliza and Hamilton. But if you look, Angelica's in the middle of them. Not direct, but like she's stood a bit back, but she's in the middle of them, and you can see her looking at Hamilton. Then when she says boom, she like moves her head over to Eliza, which is like a huge thing, which we'll talk about in Satisfied.
That is true. It is a pretty big thing. Like,
because and so also just the introduction of the theme of Helpless.
Yes.
Which is like, a huge one. Huge one.
Yeah,
we
big
love all the time. Especially in Say No to This.
Yeah. it is a big thing.
It's a really big one. I think I have it's also in Nonstop. That's another one it's in. But yeah, it's shown a lot in it in the musical. It's a big theme.
Yeah. Like Helpless, like, and it's in like a bunch of songs. Like it's in Satisfied, Say No to This.
Oh yes.
Nonstop. It's a very interesting thing because it's not like really that big. Like you just hear Helpless and you're like, oh, like what is this? But like it's actually
it's like
really
it's so huge. Also another thing I realized is that this is when we establish how they say each other's names. Which is because Angelica, she also, this is another thing, she never refers, like Angelica and Eliza never refer to Hamilton as Hamilton. They refer to him as Alexander throughout the whole musical. When a lot of, like, Burr refers to him as Hamilton the whole time.
So
like Angelica, she says Hamilton like Alexander. That was bad, but that was an example of how she says it. And like that's how she says every time she says Alexander, she says it that way.
Yeah.
And Hamilton says it Angelica. That's how he says it. And Eliza. And that's how
it introduced in Schuyler Sisters too.
Yes. And then Eliza. Okay, pop off.
I mean, not really. I'm not even warmed up, but I mean, okay.
No, that was good.
Oh, thank you.
and so that's also introduces like how they say it with each other. Also, another thing in Take a Break, Angelica, she says Alexander, and because because Eliza's in the room, Hamilton doesn't want to say Angelica because it's kind of in a loving way, so he just goes hi. Because he doesn't really want to like show in any way that.
I always love that part. He's like, hi. Like,
It's so funny.
That part's so much fun. Like I love listening when I'm listening to that song. I'm always like, hi. Like
Yeah.
it's so like awkward.
But yeah, so yeah, then they get married in Helpless, which also, what did Lafayette whisper to Peggy? Because he like says something in her ear and she goes like, did you notice that when watching it? Like Peggy, she's like, she makes that expression like, what did he say? Like,
I don't know. Knowing Lafayette, it was probably something like bold or like something like.
Yeah, definitely.
I never really noticed that before, but like poor Peggy, she's so like innocent. She probably.
So yeah,
I love all the like the background acting and Helpless.
Oh yeah, definitely. Also, we haven't even mentioned the choreography.
The
choreography is so good.
I know.
It's so good.
Throughout the whole musical, like, but especially in those numbers, because there's like dancing in the background, like as if they were at a ball.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, Helpless it's very good. Which goes into Satisfied, which is my personal favorite at the moment in Hamilton. So this is when we get rewinded back to Winter's Ball. So the very beginning of Winter's Ball, but instead of being in Eliza's point of view, it's in Angelica's.
Yes.
And so we learned, so like, and the thing is, I showed this video to Chloe. It's literally, it shows him like Satisfied and Helpless side by side, and the choreography is the exact same, like to the T.
Movements and the
every even like little movements, like everything's the exact same.
Everything.
And you could just search it up, just be like Helpless and Satisfied side by side or something. Just search it up on YouTube. It's like should be one of the first options.
It's very interesting.
It's very it's so exact. But it's crazy because like even though it's in Angelica's perspective, Eliza's still doing what she's doing in Helpless. Like she's still like doing the same movements, but it's now in Angelica's point of view.
Like personally, I always knew that, but like I never really noticed how similar
it's so similar. It's like exact. And so yeah, and then we learn that, and we learn very quickly that Angelica had basically the same reaction as Eliza, like love at first sight, pretty much. Like she saw Alexander and she was like taken back, like, whoa, like how attractive was this man?
Yeah, exactly. And like we kind of find out that Angelica's kind of like secretly
in love with him, which we find out quickly. It's like when she with the first interaction she has, like she's like, I'm sure I don't know what you mean, you forget yourself. And he goes, you're like me, you're never satisfied.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing too.
Just rip my headphones out.
That's kind of like an interesting thing too.
Yeah, which is like another thing where Angelica is smart.
Yeah.
She's smart in a world where she's not allowed to be smart because she's a woman.
Exactly. Yeah. And she like, I don't know.
Like she can read people like that. Like she knows, she meets them, first interaction, she knows what they're like. And
she like, that kind of goes through the whole musical too, because we find out he isn't satisfied with his like current like wife.
Which also another thing in Burn, which like Angelica literally told Eliza, like, what did she say exactly? Do you remember? Where she was like, oh, I can't think of it now.
Which song are you referring to?
Burn. She's talking about
Icarus. Yes. Too close to the sun.
And she says like she like predicted that. It was like be careful with that one, love. He will do what it takes to survive. It's like she knows, she can just read people like that. And Hamilton is also pretty smart. And this is the first time Angelica has been like read by someone.
Yeah.
Where he's just like,
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, like what are you talking about? No. Which brings back to the very end of the song, where he's like, he will never be satisfied. I will never be satisfied. Which brings like, that's her realization, like he was right. Like he was right. I will never be satisfied.
She does admit that. She says, nice going, Angelica. He was right. Wait.
Nice going, Angelica. He was right. You will never be satisfied. When she says you, she's referring to herself. But
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's just a huge thing. Where it's like she's never been read before.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also learn
Yeah.
like throughout the song where it's pretty much like she's speaking like a mile a minute the whole time,
She
because it's her
is.
whole like she's like all of the thoughts rushing through her head, and like she just doesn't know what she's thinking. She's like, oh, but he also likes her. Like, well, I don't know what to do. And it's
Yeah,
just like
exactly. And
it's like
she's like, if I tell her that I love him, she'd be silently resigned. He'd be mine.
like she
She'd
knows
go
that
on,
Angelica,
he'd be
because
mine.
he's like number three. He's after no number three. What is it? I have to number
He's
three.
after
I
me.
know my sister like I know my own mind. You will never find anyone as trusting or as kind. Like she knows that Eliza's so nice and will do like anything
Yeah.
for anyone, which is something she brings up in the Reynolds pamphlet, which is like she's like
Yeah.
she's just like, you, why would you cheat on her when she's so nice? Like you
Yeah.
know she'll do anything for you. Why would
Which
you
is
do
the
that?
whole thing with never satisfied again.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't satisfied.
Yes. And also we didn't mention that, but satisfied is another one of those big themes that are brought over and over again.
Yes. Uh-huh. In
So,
like
yeah.
the whole like they say it in nonstop as well. And I think even do they say it in Take a Break? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But yeah, it is a big theme that is brought up
Yeah.
various
times.
And
again with Say No to This.
Uh-huh. It's that whole thing again.
Yeah, where it's like Hamilton's like, I'll never be satisfied. I'm with this girl now. So
exactly.
Yeah. And then also Angelica, the whole song, she's like singing so fast.
I know.
But there's a moment of just calm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which towards the end, where she's just like, here, wait, I have it.
His wife.
She's just like, I can't like be with him. I just can't.
Yeah, it's not gonna work.
Or like that's her like another realization where she's like, okay.
Yeah, this is gotta happen.
Yeah.
And then she's like, and then it rewinds back to the beginning, and it's like, to the groove, to the groove, mm-hmm. to the groove, to the groove. Yeah.
Also, when she says, I'll leave you to it. In Helpless, she's like, I'll leave you to it. But yeah, in Satisfied, it's the same line, but said differently. But in Satisfied, she's like, I'll leave you to it, like kind of as like a, I messed up in a way. Kind of like, yeah. I know, like she like just from the I'll leave, she knows like that's it for her. He's with Eliza now.
Yeah, I noticed that she delivers it differently. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting because it must be like in her mind she like kind of like.
Yeah, because it's a different perspective. Because from Eliza's perspective, Angelica's happy for her, which she is, but she's still sad. Because,
she loves this man.
Mm-hmm.
And she went basically her whole life just, like, dealing with that.
Yeah.
And she's like, she talks about somewhere, she's like, I'm accompanied by someone who always pays. I have found, He's like, she says,
he is not a lot of fun, but there's no one who can match you. Talking to Alexander.
Yeah, exactly. And she's talking about like, yeah, he's not very much fun, but I guess there's no one who can match you.
Yeah, which also brings like, because I'm the oldest and the wittiest and the gossip in New York City is insidious, and Alexander's penniless. That doesn't mean I want him any less. Or she like she's saying how like, although technically she wasn't the only, her father did have other kids. He had sons, but in Hamilton, he doesn't have sons.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, she has to be the one that has to like take charge, and like she's put at a higher expectation than Eliza and Peggy.
Exactly.
Because she's the oldest. She's the first child, and like really, she was the first child in real life, and she's just put at a higher standard than the rest of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and also like, actually in real life, she was already married, but in Hamilton, she's saying she wasn't, just to more exaggerate the point that she's fell in love with him, because like historians have looked at letters between them. She's like, I think this is a little more than friendship.
Yeah, exactly. Also, never mind. We should probably talk about that in Act 2. Oh my goodness.
Act 2.
I changed my accent. Act 2. But never mind. We'll talk about it in Act
2. Okay.
It only makes sense if we talk about it in Act 2. But and then after that, it's the story of Tonight reprise, where they're like,
Which is
it's just,
directly,
like,
pretty much
they-
directly after the wedding, I think,
Mhm.
where they're
Yeah,
kind of drunk.
yeah, they are. It's kind of funny because
Yeah.
like they're talking about like now he's married and he's not gonna have freedom anymore.
And they're always just like, Alexander can't get married. Where it's just like, how did he get married? How was he the
Yeah.
first one to get married out of all of us?
I know, out of all of us, like he's like, and now they're talking about how he's kind of like rich too
Mhm.
because of the Schuyler sisters and everything like that. But oh my goodness,
Yeah.
my voice just left the chat for a second. And then after that, it's wait for it.
Wait! I have more to add.
Oh wait, okay, go.
So another thing, Burr comes in. He's just like,
Oh yeah, I
congratulations.
completely forgot about that.
Then he's Spidiverse, Burr. He's like, I see the whole gang is here. You are the
Yeah.
worst, Burr. It's like, congrats to you. And they saying like, well, and their
It's
drunken
really tough.
state, like Lawrence is like, I heard you got someone on the side, Burr.
Yeah, what
Saying,
are you trying?
and he's just like, who is this? This is when we learn about Theodosia. He doesn't say Theodosia yet, but this is when we learn about Theodosia and her existence. And like just being heard, like he's like, she's married to a British officer.
Yeah.
So he can't really be with her. And then
They're like, "Oh."
Alexander is like, it's like, I'll never understand you. Like, if you love this girl, go get her. What are you waiting for? Which goes back to
What
wait
are you
for it.
waiting for?
And he's like,
You
he just ignores it. He just ignores the question. He's like, I'll see you on the other side of the war.
Side of the war.
He just ignores the question. He's like, I didn't hear that.
I know, he literally just like ignores it because he knows he waits. He literally knows it.
Yeah.
And then
which goes into wait for it.
Yeah, and wait for it. Oh, it's just like a gorgeous song. Like I love it.
Incredible.
And oh my gosh, I watched an interview or something about Hamilton writing it, but I can't remember what he said. Hamilton writing it? Oh my goodness. Lin-Manuel Miranda writing it. He said something, but I can't remember what he said.
Okay.
And it's talking about how like Burr is like the one thing in life that he can control, and how he's the original, and he's not really like
Hamilton does whatever he wants whenever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, how can he do that?
Mm-hmm. And he's like, what is it like in his shoes?
Yeah. Another thing that's brought up is is love and death doesn't discriminate, which is, he says, first, love doesn't discriminate and death doesn't discriminate. Saying like anyone can die, anyone can love, and it's just love doesn't discriminate, death doesn't discriminate, which is a huge thing. It was like death doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. Saying like either if you are the best person in the whole world or you're the worst person in the whole world, you're gonna die either way.
Yeah.
Like
for the sinners and the saints, it takes.
And it's just like huge how it's like he doesn't want to take too big of risks in case something bad were to happen to him.
Exactly.
Or the people he loves.
He's like, and if there's,
and he's saying Hamilton has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have a reputation really yet.
Mm-hmm. And like he's also talking about like how like he's willing to wait for if like everyone else dies because they're not waiting for it. He's willing to wait for his chance if everyone else like dies.
Which like but even when he does have a chance, he still waits.
Exactly. Yeah. And like at the end too, he waited for it and it wasn't worth it, and he realized he just kind of like
he waited too long,
screwed everything up. So yeah, that's a very emotional song, very powerful.
Yeah.
But then it kind of transitions after that, like
it goes to Stay Alive, which at the very beginning of the song, Hamilton almost dies.
Literally, it's just like the whole
which is also there's a bullet, which brings back to what we were saying earlier about the bullet. Which the bullet literally carries a bullet over Hamilton's head that barely misses him.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of symbolism for like things are getting a little sticky. Like it's like it's getting rough, and he has
definitely
chance that he could die.
And this is like the song is pretty much about them in the middle of the war. Still like very much the middle of the war. Like
the thick of it.
Yeah.
And it's talking about how like it's getting really bad. Like talking about how like they're eating their horses and how like
Yeah.
they only take British money, so sing a song of sixpence, and like
Yeah.
talking about how it's just like a big struggle, and like talking about Hamilton's also talking about
How he wants to be
never-
command. Like,
yeah, how he never gets a command.
because
Like,
Washington is always like, no.
no. He's like,
Which just brings
and
back,
every day,
which
"Sir,
goes to
trust me with a command." And every-
Charles Lee,
Oh yeah.
which he's like, you know who doesn't said? Charles Lee.
I
And
know.
he says,
He's like,
I'm the second in I'm a general. Wee!
yeah.
Like,
he's not the
immediately
choice
shows
I
how
would-
like he was definitely not a good choice for it.
Yeah,
It was
then
like
he,
Lee is
like-
not great at it.
and then he talks bad about Washington too.
Yeah, literally, like he talks bad about
He
Washington
literally-
behind his back.
And then John Lawrence is like, well, I have to fight for this, like strong words, like, and then he duels
Yeah,
Charles Lee.
which
Is
yeah.
10 Duel Commandments.
You know what I have in my notes for 10 Duel Commandments?
What?
It says Lee fails, LOL.
Lee fails, LOL. Great notation.
Okay.
But it's like the
Anyways.
first like picture of a duel that we get.
Yes, the 10 Duel Commandments, which is a very like strict like song that's very like specific, which the 10 Duel Commandments did exist. They were not 10 Duel Commandments. That's not what they were called. There were a lot more than 10, in fact.
Yeah. Mhm,
But
those are, like,
because
the 10
duels happen like all the time, so they had so many rules and
Yeah.
things for them,
Mhm.
because it was just seen as like an easy situation to solve.
Like it was like the way to settle an argument, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Which is how two
Yeah.
very important people die.
Mhm. Yeah, and like this is like it kind of gives like the viewers like a view of like what the rules are, because a duel comes later in the show, and like
Yeah, it's a
And-
good like, although it was a small little duel, it was a
Yeah.
good thing to introduce the idea of it, to really, because
Yes.
you don't want to introduce the duel in Philip's death. Like
yeah, well, like the duel, I just realized it happens like way more than twice. It happens with Philip as well.
yeah.
Spoiler, but he, like it's like not only does that happen with Philip, but like
yeah.
And,
Hamilton.
yeah, it's a good idea to like introduce it, because otherwise viewers would be kind of like confused, like because you don't really have time to like tell all the rules and stuff, like
Yeah.
when you're in a big moment like that. Like that
Yeah.
was just kind of a tiny duel, so
Yeah.
that was a good way to do that.
But so we find Hamilton obviously can't fight, because since he's kind of important right now at this moment,
Yeah.
he kind of can't do that.
Yeah,
which-
not really.
So instead, John Lawrence does it for him,
Yes.
which he doesn't die, he wins. Lee doesn't
Yeah,
die
he
either, he just gets like shot in the leg or something.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah,
and
also-
then he ends up shooting Lee in the side.
Oh, the side, that's what it was.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, and so we didn't mention this before, but a lot of historians think that Hamilton's bi, and that Hamilton was kind of like Hamilton and Lawrence had a little thing.
Yeah, because of the letters.
They were roommates.
Yeah, that too. But like
Because they had a lot of letters together and stuff, and a lot of
Yeah.
them. And they said like
Yeah.
Hamilton never
Like-
had a relationship like Lawrence after that with the man.
that is true.
Like
'Cause, like-
he never had that kind of relationship after he died.
Because like in he literally, when Eliza's like, it's from John Lawrence, he's like, I'll read it later. Like don't touch it. It's my letter. But,
Yeah.
Like, but
And then he
He-
looks so devastated when he dies.
yeah.
Like if you
he's
look at
so
the
devastated.
like he's not like, although he was sad, like it's like he was just as sad as when Philip dies. Like it was
Yeah.
the same like
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he, after that, like the whole thing you were saying, like he will never love a man the way he did John Lawrence. Like they had a special friendship. It wasn't
Yeah.
like it was stronger than all of the other friendships. And
yeah, friendship.
friendships. A little bit too not strong of a word. What's
Yeah.
that word for not strong? Weak of a word.
Yes, you got it. So yeah, and then at the very end, he and Washington are arguing because he's like, what was this?
Yeah, because they literally kill his second in command. Like,
not kill him, just wound him.
well, like pretty much, like
Yeah.
not literally kill, but like.
But yeah, and then so he gets rid of Hamilton. He's like, go home.
Yeah. He's like, bye.
And then it goes to that would be enough.
Which was kind of a good thing that he went home, like, you know.
Yeah, because Eliza's now pregante. She's pregnant.
Yeah.
And so this also brings back to Stay Alive, where she's like, just stay alive. That would be enough. Which she does mention again later, where it's like, all I want, that would be enough for you just to stay alive and be with me.
Yeah, exactly. And to like share a fraction of your time and stuff like that.
Which is also brings back to the Schuyler sisters. She says, how lucky you are to be alive right now.
Yeah. It's a big thing throughout the musical, but like,
yeah.
And then they're kind of just like rejoicing about that, and it's a pretty big moment.
This also starts the 3 moments of, let me be a part of the narrative, because it's that's the starts it. And then during Burn, she says, I'm erasing myself from the narrative. And then during Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Her Story, she says, I put myself back in the narrative. So there's her 3, like, although it's very short, they're big moments, because first, like, let me be a part of it with you. And then next is like, I'm gone. I'm gone. And then the last one is like, I put myself back.
And that's where she decides to tell his story.
Yeah.
But
so, yeah. And so she's saying like, stay with me, please, thanks.
Don't just leave. Don't leave through the war. But,
and then he comes back.
Yeah, and then he's like, bye.
He's literally home for a song.
And then he leaves.
Then Guns and Ships, where this is Lafayette's moment. His big rap part, which is the fastest rap in the whole musical.
Yes, it's really, really good on his part.
Which Daveed Diggs does a great job doing.
Yeah, he's really good at doing that.
Yeah, and that's not even the fastest he can go. He can go faster than that.
Yeah, he does something similar in Washington on Your Side. Yeah.
No, like I've listened to like like a song that he sang, and he just goes so quick.
Yeah, he's really, really good at that. And it's just kind of like talking about like him and his like high reputation in the war,
and how like they need Hamilton back. Like they need Hamilton back because they're struggling.
Yeah, and that's just kind of like his little moment there. Yeah. And then like
this also introduces History Has Its Eyes on You.
Yes, like it introduces it. Okay, the next song, History Has Its Eyes on You, is I just triggered my Siri. I don't know why, but I did. It's like it's talking about like Hamilton comes back and Washington's like, hey, I just want to tell you this because I don't want you to be in the same situation. Yeah. And so, yeah.
So like you better not mess up.
Because history. Okay, it's my motivation again. It says you were born to be real, not perfect. Motivational.
Oh, okay. You were born to be real.
Yes, I was totally born to be fake. But anyway, back to the show. It's a really, I love that song because it's talking about how like, and it also, this is the first time Who Tells Your Story comes up too. Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story.
Yes.
Which is seen at the end as well.
Which is the end song, a huge song.
Big song, yeah. And it's just, again, he's basically just talking about like, don't mess up.
Yeah.
Because history's watching.
History's watching you, and everyone will know.
Exactly, everyone will know, and that's kind of a thing again. Like, not even in just the war, he messed up historically with the whole affair, and now his whole reputation.
Here's the thing. He said, you know what would be worse if instead of being hated for tax fraud, instead I'm going to be hated for a freaking affair. Yes. It's like, that would be better.
He was like, he literally like he could have like died, like he could have done anything else, and then he chose I'm gonna do it at a fair. Like that's exactly
Mhm.
what I'm gonna do.
So after that, next is Yorktown, or The World Turned Upside Down, because that's the name in parentheses.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty big one. Um, so I have notes definitely for it.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it's a crazy song.
uh,
This one
yeah,
was like their display at the Tonys, like the
really,
one they performed. Yeah, I watched the performance, and it was so phenomenal. It's so good. The choreography and the
oh
number
yes,
itself is so
yeah.
good.
I can't. The choreography is so incredibly good.
I know.
Absolutely incredible. I had to do for
So good.
social dance. I did this. I did the end of The Room Where It Happens. I had to teach it for my class, and it's so good. It was so fun to learn.
Yeah, the choreography in general is just really good
Mhm.
of the whole musical. But basically this is like where they're like in the Battle of Yorktown, which is like a big historical battle because this is where they win. This is where the French
Yes.
help them and they win the war. Like the British surrender and they win. Well,
Yes.
technically we win, I guess. Like America
Yeah.
wins. But
Yeah, because they
um
did the white flag.
the white flag of surrender. This song is so good. Like I like
Yeah.
the whole like intensity of it. Like it has that
Yes.
war intensity and
Yeah.
war togetherness as well.
But yeah, so some of the songs that are featured in, or not featured, but like referenced again, like My Shot. He says, I imagine death so much it feels more like a memory.
Uh
Like
huh.
just like a
This is
bunch of
where it
stuff.
gets me
hmm
when it really doesn't.
So yeah, it's just like a lot of death. And then also Lawrence interacts with the bullet.
Yeah.
Because he
That
kills a
was.
red, they kill a redcoat together, and then he shakes hands with her. And guess what? He dies.
Oh. Oh, hello, Cal. My dog just. I don't know if he.
Hello.
Oh, he's right there.
I see.
But uh, anyway, it yeah, the whole Lawrence thing. He interacts with the bullet, and then eventually he dies.
Yeah.
But he like it's really interesting with the whole bullet again. I know I keep saying that, but like I never really paid attention to that.
Yeah.
Like the way they do that is very like
hmm
good. The way they do that.
I have more notes, but my handwriting's so bad I can't read it, so you don't get to know them.
We'll never know. Oh
Yeah,
my
but that's
goodness,
just the
my
thing
voice is
with
like.
saying the
I'm
world turned upside down. How it's like they literally won, so the world is different. Like they're free; they can do whatever they
yeah,
want.
they can do whatever they want. And then what's after that?
What
The
comes next?
what comes next, which is where like it's kind of not
The
symbols
king is like,
foreshadowing because it's like he's talking about like yeah you're on your own, like wait till you have to rule, it's gonna suck, everyone's gonna hate you.
yeah,
And
which no one
that's
really
kind of what happened.
hates them, but like people are in a disagreement of how to run the government.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like when you're a ruler, like people are not gonna like you because you're in charge.
Yeah, you do whatever you
And
want, but now they have to choose. And so we learn with Hamilton's like Hamilton has wants more of like his is closer, not exactly the same, but closer to what it was before. But if it wasn't like that, there would be no order at all. And which they
exactly.
end up choosing Hamilton's form of government in the end,
Yeah.
which is our government now. Obviously it's changed a bit, but our base
Yeah,
government is
is pretty much the
Hamilton's
same.
is
Yeah.
Hamilton's like government, like his idea for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he like everyone was kind of like
America's
doubting him.
government. I should mention that.
Didn't they literally say like in some song like he was like he proposes his own form of government, his
Yes.
own plan for a new form of government, and everyone's like what?
Talks for
But
6 hours. The run the is list
convention is listless, right, young man? Yo,
the heck is
that's
this?
a good
Yeah,
song.
it
Um,
is.
but
Yeah, so
yeah,
he lost and he's just like, fine, leave.
fine. Yeah, leave, go. We don't care.
Yeah. They'll hate you. Bye.
Yeah, and he's like, don't come crawling back to me. Go. You're on your own.
Leave. I don't want you anymore.
Leave.
I don't like you
Bye.
guys anyways.
Um, yeah, that's basically that song. And then, what comes after that? Can't remember.
Next is Dear Theodosia.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
this
where
is
their children.
this is Aaron Burr. It starts off with him talking about Theodosia, which is his child, which he ends up being with Theodosia. Did they get married?
Yes, I
Okay.
think they did. I'm not really sure how that all went down because they didn't
Okay.
really ever talk about it.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, so and then he just sing, Dear Theodosia, what to say to you. He also says, You have my eye. I think this is so funny. You have my eyes. You have your mother's name. Like you have my eyes. Oh, you have your mom's name.
your mom's name. That's so important. Like
Yeah.
he's like, you have my eyes. Your mother's name. Like he's like
Yeah.
not even.
And then also Hamilton talks about Philip, which is the firstborn child, which he has
Yes.
many others. They're not really. They're very briefly mentioned in Take a Break.
Yeah, like very briefly.
Like just like
but
I have a sister, but I want a little
Want a
brother.
little brother.
And that's it. That's
how
all we
many
get.
children do they have? I feel like
They
they
had,
had a lot.
8 or 9, something somewhere
Yeah,
around
I
that.
feel like they had a lot. Like it seems like a lot now, but it was pretty standard for that time.
Yeah, that time you just had a lot of children.
Yeah, it was just like what you did. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Free labor. And so yeah, and then also it introduces the Blow Us All Away, which is a huge thing in Blow Us All Away.
yeah.
Which is thing because another thing with Theodosia, I think she died in like a shipwreck. So she was literally blown away in a shipwreck.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and then Philip was literally blown away, as in shot.
Like literally blown to pieces.
So so that's another thing where it's like a happy. It's like you're gonna blow us all away. It'll be amazing. Also, no, you literally get blown away and die.
Yeah,
because
like,
both of them died pretty. They died both of them died young.
Yeah.
Because Philip was 19.
Yeah, I don't know when, like with the whole
I think Theodosia was in like her 20s.
Dear Theodosia reprise. It's obviously not a part of the show, but like he was talking to Theodosia about her mother's death. So I'm assuming that her mother died like sometime before she did.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but yeah.
Okay, and then after that is the secret song. I don't know what it's actually called. It has a name. I don't know what it's actually called though. I think it's like Philip or like Lauren's interlude or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's Lauren's interlude.
Okay, yeah. So this is the song where Lawrence dies. It's so sad because he's singing the oh my god, what's it called? The Tomorrow There'll Be More of Us. He's like saying like I may not live to see our glory, but I will gladly join the fight. So he's singing that and during this, in between, Eliza is reading off the letter.
Yeah.
Is written by I keep saying Philip, Lawrence's father.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is like so sad because it's about how like he died, and then also he wanted to make a all black army, and it was like that.
And he said his dreams of that dies with him.
Yeah.
And I was
like, no.
Breaking. Yeah, it's like literally.
Hamilton is almost like to tears by this because obviously it's his friend.
He's like, I have so much work to do after that.
Yeah. And then it goes to Nonstop, which in the beginning of Nonstop, in the background while Burr is singing, you literally see Hamilton like wiping tears away. If you notice.
Oh, really? I didn't notice that.
Because he's trying to because Lawrence just died.
Yeah, he's literally died.
He's trying to get himself ready because this is pretty important stuff. So yeah. So we learned that Hamilton wrote 51 essays, which I think someone wrote 5, someone wrote 10.
It's like James Madison wrote like 29 or something and then
Hamilton wrote the other 51, which is on my phone case, and it's actually.
Hamilton wrote the other 51. When I heard that for the first time, I was like,
it's like, oh, okay, pop off, Hamilton.
Like, yeah, I guess so. And that's the whole right, like you're running out of time thing. And the whole writing.
Because you're like, oh yeah, they mention it again. That's like, why? How do you write like you're running out of time? How do you write like it's needed to survive? It's like because he writes because the needing to survive. He writes it like it's what he needs to survive. He's
Yeah.
constantly writing. He's constantly working and never paying attention. He's never taking his time.
And that kind of goes with Hurricane as well, because that kind of is what he does to survive. Like, he's talking about he's going to write his way out.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what he does to do that. But it's kind of stupid the way he does it. Like, no offense to him.
Yeah, writes about an affair that he did
like,
that
literally
no one knew about, which is another thing that with the congratulations, like, congratulations, you've invented a new kind of stupid. Like, no one has ever done that before.
No, I mean, I get where he's coming from, because he's like, if I just admit it, then my reputation won't be destroyed.
Like,
But at
it's
the same
worse.
time-
It's destroyed.
I know. Like, okay, let's just
No
say
one
no one
knew.
ever found out about it. He could have been president. He could have had a whole reputation. He would have been in the history books.
Yes.
But he like, I don't know, he just didn't want to risk that. And then he just kind of like wrote a whole Reynolds pamphlet about it. But
yeah. Well, Nonstop is also goes back to Burr's Wait for It. Because it's like Hamilton is like doing a bunch of stuff and he's complete, and Burr's just like, he's still waiting for it. He's still doing that.
And he's like, oh, no. That's the wrong song. Never mind. I was thinking of a different song.
Oh.
But like, yeah, it's a whole wait for it thing. He's like, and that's another moment when Hamilton is like, what are you waiting for? What did you stall for? We won the war. What was it all for?
Yeah.
And it's like, do you support this Constitution?
It's like, yeah. Well, then defend it.
And he's like, well, what if you're backing the wrong horse? And it's like the whole wait for it thing again.
Yeah. But yeah, so then it goes into, Eliza's kind of mad at him because he's leaving again. Because to do not the revolution, they already won. Do, like, to make the government, she's like, what the heck? Excuse me?
Yeah.
And this is also when they mention the new form of government. Where he's like, he suggested, because the one they have now sucks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he was like, a new U.S. Constitution.
Yeah. And then it goes into a part where they referenced so many songs at the end, because there are a bunch of people like,
it's glorious.
Yes, it's so good. It's done so incredibly well. But it's just like everyone's opinions and everyone like thoughts on what's happening. And so usually during that part, I'm like singing along. But while I was listening, to take my notes, I was really just listening so hard to get every single one down to make sure I didn't miss any. And I won't be surprised if I did. But this is what I have in my references. Right Hand Man, Satisfied, Wait for It, The Schuyler Sisters, Helpless, That Would Be Enough, Alexander Hamilton, and History Has Its Eyes on You.
All in one song.
And all in like the same like last like 45 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the end he's like, I'm not throwing away my shot. I'm not throwing away
my shot.
Yeah.
I have in my notes Angelica out.
Angelica out.
Which is true, because she leaves to, where does she leave? She goes to where does she go?
To London?
Yeah, she goes to London.
Yeah, she goes to London. But yeah, it's crazy. It's really beautifully done.
Yeah, and Hamilton takes over with the treasury.
Of course, like, it's beautiful, like, when they perform it, but writing that, oh my goodness. God. That's
imagine.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, writing all those lines of music and all those lines
and
of
referencing so many things.
I know, exactly. It's just crazy. Like, I love that song. One of my favorites. But
I knew also Hamilton. Lin wanted to write Hamilton earlier, but it was like, I think he read it like kind of in the midst of In the Heights.
Yeah.
So he was like, I need to wait till I finish this and get more experience. Which, thank God he did, because it's incredible.
Yeah, it's
like,
so
whatever
good.
he writes next, I can't imagine what it's gonna be.
I know. And didn't he write all the music for Moana as well?
Not, he wrote a song.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. But
he deserves every single award that he has won. He deserves everything for it. He did absolutely amazing.
Yeah, he's so good.
So yeah, do you have anything else to add?
I mean, I don't think so. Like, Act 2 is going to be the big discussion, like where everything
big-
ties together.
Everything goes down in Act 2.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I would, but like I'm probably gonna save it because that's when it all kind of ties together.
So yeah.
So
That's the end of Act 1. I think I checked. It's like an hour and a half, maybe even more. I think,
wow.
assuming this is just Act 1.
I know, just Act 1, which is not even as crazy as Act 2.
Yeah. So yes, thank you for listening. If you had to listen, if you had to pause and listen again, I completely understand.
Yeah, definitely.
But yes, thank you for listening. Follow us on all of our social medias.
Yes.
I can't think of it now. Musical Chairs.
It's
Musical Chairs Podcast on Instagram, Podcast Chairs on Twitter. You can support our Patreon, which will be in the descriptions of all those.
Yeah.
We're $3 a month, and you can vote on musicals early. You get, if we sing anything, you get that early. You get the whole podcast
Get
early.
all of it early. Yeah.
So yes, and yeah, so stay tuned for part 2 of Hamilton, aka Act 2. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching or listening to Musical Chairs.
Yeah, I'm Chloe.
And I'm Joshua.
Bye.
Bye.